In the name is included the qualities, the form, and the activities of the Lord. It's included in the name. So actually when we chant the holy name, but get in contact with Krishna through the holy name, we are relieved of our material miseries. And when we actually relieved of our material miseries, then we'll get the hankering within the core of our heart satisfied simply by chanting the holy name. So that's actually the potency which is there in the holy name. And Narada Muni, he explains this in this verse. And that's why it's important, because if we don't know actually the potency of the holy name, then we will not deal with the holy name properly. We will not be desirous to get the real benefit from the holy name. We will simply be chanting the holy name, but without a clear desire, without a clear prayer to the Lord for the full mercy which is there available in the holy name. So with that idea, we should know that when we get out in the street and chant, basically we are just doing for this purpose. We want to mitigate the miseries of the mass of common people. That's the purpose why we go out there. So that by hearing these holy names, that the people who are suffering in material pangs, they will get a chance to be relieved from their miseries. And when we have got some mercy ourselves, when we have cleared up a bit of our consciousness, then we should be eager to get that hankering within the core of our hearts satisfied by the process of chanting the holy names, by hearing the glories of the Almighty Lord. Because that's the order, that's the instruction, direction given by Narada Muni, who is our Acharya. And we'll find that Narottam Das Thakur and the other Acharyas, they simply repeat this message. Lord Prabhupada was asked, how do we satisfy you? If you love Krishna. So how to love Krishna? You have to hear about him. You have to develop attachment for Krishna. As we know, all of this has to be a combination of proper behavior, of being well situated in your position, in your ashram, like that, in your varna, might be necessary. But at this point is relevant, is applicable for everyone. Everybody has to take out the process of hearing about the Lord, hearing and chanting. That's compulsory for everyone. And that should be actually understood. There should be some eagerness. There should be some eagerness to get that desired result. To chant properly about the Lord's glories, to get the desired result. That we can remind ourselves from time to time that this is being stated by the Acharya. So we spoke this today because this particular verse, it mentions about Narada Muni. So we can appreciate Narada Muni for having so nicely, so mercifully given the chance for all living entities to come out of their material miseries, and also to help those souls who have been relieved of material miseries to ultimately be qualify themselves to return back to Godhead. And as we know, Ritasura, he's wanting it, he's eager for it. In the today's verse, the one prior to one which we recited together, sorry, it's actually the 18, I'll just read the translation again. But if in this battle you cut off my head with your thunderbolt, and kill my soldiers, O Indra, O great hero, I shall take great pleasure in offering my body to other living entities, such as jackals and vultures. I shall thus be relieved of my obligations to the reactions of my karma, and my good fortune will be to receive the dust from the lotus feet of great devotees like Narada Muni. So actually I'll just read a little bit from the purport again. A Vaishnava always desires the dust of the lotus feet of previous acharyas and Vaishnavas. Vritasura was certain that he would be killed in the battle with Indra, because this was the desire of Lord Vishnu. He was prepared for death because he knew that after his death he was destined to return home back to Godhead. This is a great destination, and it is achieved by the grace of a Vaishnava. So I think we can speak a little bit about the last point, that the destination of going back to Godhead, this is achieved by the grace of a Vaishnava. So as we know, Vaishnavas, they're very important. There's the Acharya Vaishnava, and there's the Vaishnavas we have around us. So we spoke a little bit about Acharya Vaishnava, about how Narada Muni, he's helping us as Acharya. So then it would also be relevant if we speak about the Vaishnavas we have around us, because there's two things, the Acharya Vaishnavas we can say, and the Vaishnavas we have around us. So I would like to mention one thing that's relevant for us when dealing with amongst ourselves. And that is, how do we actually value the Vaishnavas? How do we get to see the importance of the Vaishnavas? How do we get to see the Vaishnavas as necessary for us to make advancement and to go back to Godhead? Because there's one thing I would like, and that is to develop the understanding how important Vaishnavas are to myself. How do we get appreciation for the Vaishnavas? And we can connect it actually to what we just heard. Because Narada Muni, he wanted Vyasadeva to speak about the Lord, he wanted to chant the glories of the Lord, for someone to hear. So this hearing and chanting, how can we, by the process of hearing and chanting, develop appreciation for the Vaishnavas? So there I would say that we have this great task about lending our ears to the transcendental sound vibration of the Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada has given us Srimad Bhagavatam, and Srila Prabhupada wants us to take advantage. But how do we take advantage of the Bhagavatam? I can tell from my personal experience that I was not able to take advantage of the Bhagavatam for around about 7-8 years of my attempt to practice devotional service. Simply because I did not possess the strength and determination to actually spend time with the Bhagavatam, to lend my ears, lend my mind to the vibration of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It didn't really happen that much. But at some point I got some clue that if you can't do it yourself, then you have to take help of somebody else. So then I took help of devotees to make an appointment to sit and read the Bhagavatam, study the Bhagavatam together, then speak a little bit what was read, what did you read, and in that way I got a new angle to look at the Vaishnavas, because by that help of getting together with another devotee, I simply was able to study in a way that I was not able to do before. It was like doubled. Practically I had spent twice as much time with the Bhagavatam with the help of the devotees as what I would be able to do without the help of the devotees. So in that way I got a little trace of how valuable the devotees are and how rare it is, but who's willing to sit and study Srimad Bhagavatam for 2 hours and speak about the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam? Who's willing to do that? Where can you find a person who's willing to do that? It's actually extremely rare. So then you can find that you want to find people like this, who are willing to hear about the Bhagavatam, who are willing to speak what they have understood from the Bhagavatam. You know, these are rare persons. And when you try to find a rare person, you get so much appreciation when you find that person. So, in that way, that's one way how we can, one humble suggestion, one humble offering, how we might be able to increase our, from my limited understanding, how we'll be able to increase our appreciation of Vaishnavas. That is that the Vaishnavas, they will help us to practice mat chitta mat kata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantastamamitam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. That's Krishna himself. He's speaking this verse 10:9. The thoughts of my pure devotees, they dwell in me, and their lives are dedicated to my service, and they derive great bliss and satisfaction by always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So by the help of the devotees, we can perceive and arrive at the point of tushyanti charmanti cha, to derive a great satisfaction and bliss by conversing with the devotees and enlightening each other by the topics, by the hearing and chanting about the glories of the Lord. So that is one humble suggestion, that if we like to increase our appreciation of the Vaishnavas, then try to see how they can help you to follow the instruction of the Lord. That this hearing and chanting is the most important process. And particularly we have the holy name, which is so easily accessible, which even the common masses who are not conversant with the glories of the Lord, they can get all the benefit which is there in hearing and chanting about the Lord simply by the agency of the holy name, because everything is included in the holy name. So how much potent process we have in front of us, and what a responsibility it is to share it. But in order to share it enthusiastically, we have to know the value of it. Unless we know the value that is there in the holy name, the value which is there in the topics of the Lord, conversation, talks about the Lord, then how can we enthusiastically share it? So that's what I would hope to, in a very humble way, to contribute, that we should try to understand the potency which is there in actually we have in front of us. And when we can take that understanding with us and chant on the street with the desire that, please, these people, they're suffering, they have no clue about the goal of life, and they're simply floating in the modes of material nature and going through so many miseries, and the destination is not auspicious. So by this sacrifice that we attempt to do, they can be relieved of all this misery. So if we pray to the Lord that this may take place by His mercy, by His grace, then we can actually do the highest welfare work, which is actually Prabhupada, when he came here. He made the point that this Bhakti Yoga process of devotion, so this is the highest welfare work. So we want to benefit other living entities, to relieve them of the miseries we ourselves found ourselves in a short few years back. So this is all available, this is all we can do when we go out there. This is, we have an opportunity to engage ourselves in this way. So I would request that we try to somehow take advantage of this, try to take a little bit of this understanding with us when we're out there, and try to be, what a great opportunity, what a great fortune we have to be allowed to engage in this sacrifice of hearing and chanting, hearing about the Lord. How important it is, how it can relieve people from their miseries, when nothing else, Nada Muni says, there's no other way of these miseries, of these material miseries. It's the only solution. And we get to play a small part in it. So, with that I would like to round off. I know I took a little extra time, and we don't have so much. We have about 7 minutes. So if there's any short comment or question or chastisement, then...
Yes.
Okay.
Terrible dress.
Yes, thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai.
Bhagavatam ki jai.